Divisional takes, as we said earlier in the show. Today we're focusing on the AFC North, and now we're heading to Cleveland. Shedeur Sanders was the big name selected by the Browns in this year's draft. He's now at training camp. He'll be competing in a crowded quarterback room, right? They've also got Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, and another rookie, Dillon Gabriel, on their roster. Shedeur's hoping he can stand out this summer to earn the starting job. Okay, Mike T, is Shedeur the AFC North quarterback who needs the ball out the most this season?
Absolutely. If I was the GM of the Browns, I would sit him down and say, Shedeur, here's the answers to the test. You have one season to prove to us that you're the quarterback of the future. We have 2 first-round picks next year. Go play well so we don't have to draft a quarterback. I think he's a better prospect than Dillon Gabriel. I would trade Kenny Pickett.
Mike T, how much pressure is that on a 5th rounder?
Yeah, why should he only have one season when other
because you have 2 first-round
picks?
picks. Because, Molly, they have 2 first-round picks. Next year's draft is loaded with quarterbacks. So, to me, your best chance to start is right now.
Gotcha.
And
that makes sense.
Yeah, there's a sense of urgency that, look, next year, Jacksonville, if they don't make the playoffs, that could be a high pick. And we know that, again, there's probably at least 4, maybe 5 guys in the first round. So tell us that we don't need to use those picks on a quarterback. Like, go earn the job. All that noise about the draft, that's ancient history. Go earn the trust and respect of your teammates. You are a good quarterback. You played well at Colorado. Take this job, not for today, but for the next 5 years. Like, this is a job interview. Like, we want you to be successful.
Yeah, I think that for pressure on a quarterback who's a 5th-round pick, I feel like it's unfair. And it's not pressure, and I get what your sentiment is. Like, you have one opportunity to get in here and show and prove that we don't go draft a quarterback. I don't know if there's much you can do for that not to be the case. That's my own personal opinion. But we can't have both ways, right? We talked about with Stephen A. earlier about what Cam's situation was versus Jalen's. When you're a top-ground guy, there's pressure on you to ball out. When you're a lower-level guy, we see you a certain way, you should have a chance to develop. If you're asking me who I think in the AFC North needs to ball out the most, it's Joe Burrow. Joe got the Cincinnati Bengals to do something they don't typically do. He said, hey, I want T. Higgins and I want Jamar Chase. I want both of these guys paid so we can keep this train rolling. That train better roll, otherwise there's going to be a lot of competition.
And I feel like it's the Lamar Jackson. I think it's not about Lamar Jackson being a good player anymore. He's one of the best that this game has at any position, and to me, one of the more transcendent quarterbacks that's ever played this game. But how do you finish and where do you finish is all important for this quarterback. You saw him say that we're going to come back with a vengeance next year, and you mentioned, you know, sort of championship windows, Buffalo Bills. If you're Sean McDermott, do you feel like, hey, wait, we just can't do it? He has Josh Allen. You have to start questioning the same thing of the Baltimore Ravens, but we've seen John Harbaugh do it with Joe Flacco. And so there are going to be more questions heaped upon Lamar Jackson that, are you just extremely talented? Are you a quarterback that can execute in the regular season? Can we expect you to step up in the biggest moments? Because the one thing about Lamar Jackson that people point to all the time is he was the best college player in the world, winning the Heisman Trophy. They didn't win an ACC championship. They didn't win a national championship. And now here in the NFL, he's been the best player on the field to me 3 of the years he's been in the NFL, but he still hasn't even gone to a Super Bowl. I think it's all important that he takes that next step.
Yeah, but again, like, to answer the question, if the 4 of us were sitting here a year from today, Joe Burrow and Lamar Jackson are superstars that are going to get paid incredibly well, that they've earned. We don't know what's going to happen to Shedeur. Is Shedeur a starter? Is he a backup? Is he a journeyman?
Well, I think we're looking at it different, though, too, Mike T. You're talking about who needs to play better but based on how it affects their career, right? And what we're talking about is who needs to play better based on how it affects their perception, the way that people are going to look at them, what's expected of them. Shedeur Sanders is a 5th-round draft pick. The expectations of him are not high. If he plays well, if he becomes the starter, he's exceeded what he thought or what many thought he would be the night he was drafted.
But he's not just a random 5th-rounder, right? He's Deion Sanders' son. So there's other expectations and eyeballs and pressure. I mean, we did First Take from Colorado, right? And I agree with both of you on the Ravens and the Cincinnati Bengals. But to your point and how you brought up that Cleveland also has those 2 high picks, and when they could get another quarterback in a deep quarterback class coming up, do you feel like Shedeur is being set up for failure just from the simple fact that we're saying, okay, he has this year, or they might draft another quarterback over him, and he was already drafted so low?
Yeah, I think it's more of an opportunity. I would say, hey, look at Brock Purdy. Like, you could go out and be the starter here for the next 10 years. Just exceed expectations, be the head of this organization from day one. Look, he had some small bumps in the roads with, the speed tickets. That's way gone too. But RC and Hawk, you guys know, from a quarterback perspective, he has to give that locker room hope and belief that when we go out there, we have a reasonable chance to win this game with you at quarterback. And my point, Molly, is if he could stack enough of that together, then he has a chance to, again, flip it. No one's talking about San Francisco getting another quarterback. They just signed Brock Purdy. He was a 7th-round pick. He could run the same play in Cleveland.
I get it. I just feel like other quarterbacks get a longer leash than just having that 1 year where they have to get it done.
But that's the reality of being a 5th-rounder.
Yeah.
There is nothing set up for a 5th-rounder. There is no organization that's set up for a 5th-rounder to succeed. To Mike T's point, you got to go hunt. The person who actually has a gripe to say are they not set up for success is Dylan Gabriel. Because you draft me in the 3rd round, and then you draft
he had to be
the biggest name quarterback in the draft 2 rounds later. But this is the NFL. You earn jobs, you keep jobs. And what balling out is for Shedeur is not the same as a ball out for Lamar Jackson, and not the same a ball out for Joe Burrow. But there's still pressure on everybody to make sure that at the end of the year, you're in a better situation than you were.
And honestly, Mike T, if a general manager is looking at Shedeur Sanders like that, or to say, okay, you have to go out and prove to me we don't need to use one of these draft picks next year, Shedeur Sanders has to play like a 1st-rounder and not like he can't play like Caleb Williams played last year. Shedeur Sanders is going to have to give you Michael Penix Jr. He's going to have to give you Bo Nix so you can see a future, because if you do draft high enough and something is tantalizing enough at the top of that draft, you'll still move on from him if he gives you adequate play. And we are saying all of this with the expectation that he actually starts at some point this season. And, Hawk knows this. We didn't hear our names called. And for your entire career, you're trying to outplay that moniker of undrafted free agent. It's going to be the same thing.
Look at you now.
It's going to be the same thing.
How do you like me now?
How do you like me now?
Yeah.
It's going to be the same thing for Shedeur this entire season. Every time he throws an interception or takes a bad sack, see, that's why they didn't draft him in the 1st round. And that's a lot to overcome.
No, it's a lot of pressure. But I think he's built to handle that. Do you guys ever play flag football?
No, with the talent that he has around him. Hurts does not have to play elite for the Philadelphia Eagles to win. We're not asking you to win the game. We're just asking you not to lose it. But when you ask that question, are we winning because of you, solely because of you? Or is it the resources around you? So game changer, game manager, those are the things that you have to ask yourself. And those are the metrics that I'm going off of.
So we're doing this again. So Cam had that comparison made a year ago. And Mike T, I can see that you're shaking your head. I understand what he's trying to say, which is, and I do not mean this to disrespect Jalen Hurts, who was brilliant, who deserved to be the MVP of the Super Bowl, who, yes, has gone head-to-head against or toe-to-toe against Patrick Mahomes in Super Bowls twice and been the better player on the field in both of those games. All those things are true. However, if you're going to break it down to, there are players that you say to them, just go out there and win this for us, kid. And then there were others who you find yourself in a situation, if you were to flip-flop places with some of the other top quarterbacks in the NFL, it might look different. I'm not saying I agree with what Cam is saying. I'm saying I understand it.
Yeah, and I would push back because, bottom line, he got it done. And the rest of those players were projecting. And again, it bears repeat. He has gotten a lot better at what the
Các bạn sẽ gặp